Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Monday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. We're brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Braxton Rizzuto, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. And we got 2 full hours for you to kick off this week. Masters in the rearview mirror. I'll get to it later on in the show. We got to watch LSU football for 2 hours on Saturday. I've got a lot of thoughts from that. LSU basketball has hired a pretty splashy name officially to the assistant coaching staff. Let's get to that at the end of the hour. Saints, pass catcher targets. What are some attributes that they may be looking for in the draft, which is now more rapidly approaching toward the end of this month? Lots and lots and lots to get to. Let's start, like we do every single day, with our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
Tigers swept right out of Oxford, Mississippi. It was ugly over the weekend. I told you on Friday, I felt like LSU needed to win on Friday. I thought Hunter Elliott was gettable. I thought you had your best starter on the mound with a rested bullpen. I thought that was your best chance to get one. I felt awful about the matchup on Saturday with Cade Townsend and William Schmidt. LSU got 10 run, and LSU hasn't done anything in terms of pitching on Sunday. I knew that Taylor Rabe was going to come out throwing 97, 98 miles an hour, and he did. You needed to win on Friday, and you didn't. And then you had no chance on Saturday, and you had very little chance thanks to the fight that your team is displaying on Sundays. As Jay Johnson said post-game, we do know that they can fight against bullpens on Sunday. Like, that's the only real positive that I'm looking at with this club. But that's something that they do. And they got behind 7-0 and got all the way back to 7-7 and couldn't quite get it done. You know, on Friday's game, things started out wonderfully. Chris Stanfield draws a walk. They try to pick him off, throw it away. Jake Brown bashes a homer into right field. Cade Arambidi gets an infield hit. Then Mason Braun singles to left center. You got runners at the corners. And you've made Hunter Elliott work. You've got 2 runs on the board. You've got 2 guys on base. You send a runner to second base to try to get into scoring position, and Cade Arambidi gets picked off third base on a pump fake by the catcher. This is a play that is run in 10-year-old baseball. 10-year-old baseball. And Cade Arambidi gets picked off. Later on in the game, Mason Braun is on base. At first, he's not stealing. He gets picked off. You get picked off, you're trying to steal a bag. It happens over the course of a 56-game schedule. I'm probably not going to throw a fit. But when you know that this pitcher's got a good pickoff move and you're not going anywhere, you need to have a one-way lead and be able to get back if he throws over there. And Braun just didn't do it. And that was just a couple of the horrendous errors that LSU made in this game. Not necessarily all errors on the score sheet, although LSU did have one of those, but just mistakes that LSU made in the game. You cannot do those things. When Seth Dardar is asked to get a safety squeeze down with runners on first and third and 1 out in the 4th inning, and there's a fastball right down the middle of the plate, and he doesn't bunt it, that dog won't hunt. You got to get the bunt down. When you bring in a college athlete, I don't want to hear the term freshman, a college athlete to play second base, and there's a ground ball to the left side, and you can't get your foot on second base, what are we doing here? What are we doing? And unfortunately, I don't mean to crush young players, certainly guys that are in their first year at LSU, but you've brought in Jack Ruckert and Ethan Kloss to play defense, and it's one thing to kick a ground ball, but Ruckert had a one-hopper that was chest high last month that he didn't catch. And now you've got Kloss who doesn't put his foot on the base. These are not, I didn't feel the ground ball. These are just the moments too big. I don't need to be out here is what it looks like to me. Ethan Kloss has been playing baseball his entire life. How many times has he missed the base on a force out. That's a bright spotlight. And so you can't get it out there. And then they hit a 190-foot pop-up to left field, and Will Furniss tags. Will Furniss runs with a piano on his back. And Chris Stanfield catches the ball flat-footed and then throws it 20 feet up the third baseline to allow another run to score. Just so not clean. Nothing LSU does outside of Stephen Milo defensively is not clean. I haven't even mentioned the fact that you had a ball that was a strike that Omar Cerna didn't catch, and it popped so far out of his glove, it played it a run. You're not going to be able to make these kinds of mistakes and win games on Fridays in the SEC. It's just not going to happen. And you didn't. And meanwhile, you go out there and you get a 2-0 lead like I talked about, and then Kason Evans goes out, your Friday night starter, and he allows 4 of the first 5 Ole Miss players to get a hit. That's just not setting the tone on a Friday. Now, I will spin that a little bit because I have to be consistent with my message. I don't like when teams come in and run their playbook against you. It irritated me to watch LSU allow Kentucky to play its brand of baseball when they came to the box. That irritated me. I think you should be able to stop teams from doing what they want to do. My preferred way to get beat is a team doing something outside of its norm. If I bring it to a basketball analogy, if you're facing a team that dominates in the paint and shoots 28% from 3, and they come out and knock down 15 threes, like, well, I can live with that sometimes because that's you game plan, you try to execute something. If they do something completely out of their comfort zone, sometimes you tip your cap. And in this series, you could make that argument. I'm not going to, but you could, because Ole Miss has not played offense the way they did this weekend against anybody else in the league. They played Texas in the opener. They scored 13 runs on 24 hits. Against Kentucky, they scored 15 total runs on the weekend, had 17 hits. Against Mississippi State, they had 6 runs on the weekend, had 17 hits. Against Florida, 11 runs on the weekend, 21 hits. They were averaging in the neighborhood of about 11.5 runs per weekend. Their high water mark was 15. You allowed them to score 26 runs on 26 hits. This is an anemic offense. They came into this weekend in league play, so through 4 weeks, with the fewest base hits in the conference and the third lowest batting average. They were anemic offensively. And for 3 days, they hit 348 against you. 348. What was their average entering the weekend? 254. They were almost 100 points higher against you. So, on one hand, it's like, oh, well, Ole Miss just kind of got things going. On the other hand, it's indictment of your pitching staff to not be able to go out there and hold this offense down, which everyone else has done. They scored 6 runs on Mississippi State, and Mississippi State didn't have their ace. They scored 11 on Florida. The 13 they scored on Texas included extra innings. You didn't even allow them to – they hit 6 times on Saturday. So, it was a terrible, terrible weekend for LSU pitching. It was a poor weekend for LSU offensively, the vast majority of it. You were just completely outclassed in the game on Saturday. Schmidt got off to a good start. The stuff looked good. Got a couple of strikeouts. The slider looked really good. And then got to the 4th inning. He walks the first 2 guys of the inning, and it all just kind of comes unraveling, and they just start knocking balls all over the place. And ultimately, you know, the 7 runs and the 6 was probably a good thing for LSU. You didn't have to use any more pitching. And you go out on Sunday in a game that you really need to win. You needed to get one. And Rabe, who is a converted bullpen guy, now he's got great stuff. I told you that on Friday. He throws 97 miles an hour. The sinker is heavy. And he was throwing strikes, and he no-hits you for 6 innings. But to LSU's credit, and this is something I don't really take any joy in saying, I don't want to credit LSU's effort. I'd like to credit winning games and contending for championships. Effort should be a given. But these guys got down 7-0 and came out swinging, hit back-to-back-to-back home runs, put together some other good at-bats in that inning, and end up with a little bit of help from the wild pitch, hanging the 7 spot. But you'd like to, come out and make that stand up in the bottom half of the 7th. And, instead, you give up the infield single that you probably should have made the play. I mean, Braun had a chance at it, and then you had a chance with the second baseman in the shift, and nobody could corral it. And you get the interference call. Credit to Mosley. He gets a bunt down with 2 strikes. And then Randall pokes one into left field that was a foot over his head and off the plate. But you just didn't do anything against the bullpen, especially Hooks, after that. And this is just it's a bad weekend. And look, just about everybody in the SEC's had them. Now, if you look at it, I believe 13 of the 16 teams have had a winless weekend. I have to phrase it that way because I'm including Texas now in that. They went to College Station and lost 2 games. They did not play a third game. They waited until 10 o'clock last night to get on the bus and drive out to Austin. It just wouldn't stop raining in College Station. But everybody's had one of these. 13 teams have gotten either swept or had an 0-2 weekend like Texas did. It just comes at a bad time. And you make the turn now at 6-9. And if you look at where your RPI is and you look at what this team plays like and you look at their record and you realize that 7-8 is probably a bare minimum to get into the tournament, it's an uphill battle. I know that Mississippi State's lost 6 home games in a row. That's not going to be a picnic in 2 weeks. Going to Athens is going to be extremely difficult with this pitching staff, keeping that offense in the yard. You're going to put a lot of eggs in the basket of South Carolina, which comes to the box, but they're 5-6 since they fired Maneri. 3 of those wins are against Missouri. I get it, but they're 5-6 since they fired Maneri. So it's just it's an inauspicious spot. And I'll tell you this, I gave up. Well, that's too strong a word. I hit the panic button in 2023 when the bullpen did not have Shores anymore and did not have Garrett Edwards anymore, and I just didn't think they had enough arms beyond Skeens because Floyd had not established himself and Cooper was getting knocked around a little bit, and you just didn't really have anything, and you paid for it because Mississippi State came back and beat you in comeback fashion, and I just didn't think they had anything after Skeen through his 7 dominant innings. Everybody else is getting hit, and I just felt like they were in a bad spot, and I said so on the show. I put the panic button. I quit on the team the next year in 2024 when they were 3-12. Said no chance, and both of those teams proved me very, very wrong. And I learned from those 2 instances not to give up in a long baseball season, not to give up. So I'm not giving up on this team in this baseball season, not at all. And I don't think they are either. They're fighting. It's just difficult for me to try to explain this away and suggest that a switch is going to be flipped. That's a difficult thing to try to determine. It's difficult to try to tell you that the defense is not going to cost them 3 or 4 runs every weekend. It's difficult for me to tell you that they've got really good pitching, which they clearly don't. It's difficult for me to tell you that the offense is really coming along when the fact of the matter is that they've struggled mightily against good arms. I wrote this in Around the Horn over the weekend, but I'll give you the numbers. If you look at the numbers against the best pitchers they've seen, so L.J. Mercurius from Oklahoma, Jackson Jelkin from Kentucky, and then at Tennessee, Landon Mack, the Friday starter, Tegan Coons, the Saturday starter, and Appenzeller, their closer who came in. And then the 3 starters from this weekend, Elliott, Townsend, and Rabe. You're talking about 47 1/3 innings of work in SEC play against the good arms. 47 1/3. LSU has got 12 earned runs in those 47 1/3. They've got 52 strikeouts and 9 walks. None of those pitchers has walked more than 2 LSU hitters, and none of them, you're talking about 8 of them, not a single one of them has allowed more than 2 earned runs to LSU. 8 guys. No one has allowed more than 2 earned runs. So they're not hitting really good pitching. They're not playing good defense. They don't have elite pitching. There's just not a lot to hang your hat on with this team right now. And so, again, we'll not sit here and tell you that they're toast because I'm just not going to be the idiot that does that 3 times in 4 years. I don't feel good about it at all. And if you ask me right now whether or not they're going to make the NCAA tournament, I would tell you they are not. I would have told you that 2 years ago, and they did. If you asked me, I would say they're not. They got a lot of baseball to play, and I'm excited to watch them play tomorrow, and I'll be fired up to be in the box. I'm doing color with Chris Blair for all 3 games over the weekend against A&M. I'll see every pitch. I'll be locked in, and I hope they play awesome. But I've seen a lot of this team, and what I see doesn't suggest to me that they're just one tweak from getting it done. And one of the main issues, it's not something we're pointing out very often, is what this pitching is doing. One, what Schmidt and Evans are doing, and 2, what LSU is trying to do without Cooper Moore. I'll put some numbers to that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Give them a call. 985-397-1562. That's 985-397-1562. Neil and Melissa Boudreaux have been running Boudreaux's Electrical for more than 40 years. It's a local, family-owned operation, and that's where you need to get your Generac home standby generator from. It is a game changer. The peace of mind that you will have with that Generac standby generator at your home is priceless. You don't have to worry about losing power. Maybe you work from home. Maybe you've got young kids and you just need electricity. Well, Boudreaux's Electrical Services will make sure that you have that. And, oh, by the way, they'll install it, they'll monitor it, they'll handle your maintenance as well, and you get that personal touch from dealing with a local company. You can buy that Generac home standby generator from any of the big box stores, right? But what's the customer service aspect like after you make that purchase? You don't have to ask that question at Boudreaux's Electrical because Neil and Melissa make sure that it's fantastic. So give them a call, 985-397-1562, or at the Gonzales location, 225-300-9389. That's Boudreaux's Electrical.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. No, the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
All All right, we'll talk about the 2 hours of football that we got to watch back on Saturday. We'll do that coming up in about 15 minutes. I want to stick with baseball one more segment, and then we'll transition over to football. Got to do some Saints talk a little bit later, and I'd like to recap the Masters as well. So there's a lot to do, as usual, on a Monday show. Let me be very clear in prefacing this segment. I think Kason Evans and William Schmidt are good pitchers. I think they're absolute positives for this LSU baseball team. And I'm confident when one of those guys is on the mound at bat to at bat. Okay? So I don't want this segment to come off as negative. But I do want to lay out what those guys have done, because we're going to talk about the 2024 season a lot when they found it and pushed forward, played their best baseball, and went 10-5 down the stretch and did a good job to get in the NCAA tournament. That was largely led by Luke Holman and Gage Jump, right? Those two guys went out and were horses for LSU and gave LSU a real chance in Game 1 and Game 2 every week. And Kason Evans and William Schmidt just haven't reached that level. They haven't taken a big step. There have been outings that have been very impressive. Like, obviously, Kason Evans going 7 2/3 of shutout baseball with 15 strikeouts against Oklahoma is phenomenal stuff. I thought William Schmidt against Kentucky was excellent. 5 1/3, 6 hits, no runs. Strikeout numbers were low, but he got you into the 6th inning and didn't give up any runs. Like, there are outings here or there that are pretty good. But on the whole, it's pretty mediocre statistically. Kason Evans' SEC ERA is 4.60. 4.60. Schmidt's is a hair under 4. It's 3.97. But consider this. Those guys, we've played 5 weeks of SEC baseball, right? So that's 10 starts for those two a weekend. 10 starts. They've completed 6 innings. 3 out of 10. Kason Evans did it against Kentucky and Oklahoma. Oh, sorry, 3 again. Ole Miss. He did it 3 times. Oklahoma, Kentucky, and Ole Miss. Schmidt has not done it yet. He has not completed 6 innings at any point. Against Tennessee, he went 5 2/3 last week and allowed 3 hits, 2 earned runs. So you're not getting deep into games. You're not dominating. It's just okay pitching is what it is. And those two guys have not been crushed. They've allowed 4 or more earned runs just 3 of the 10 outings. It's not that they're getting knocked all over the place, but they're not dominating. They're not asserting their will. It's really just Evans against Oklahoma, and everything else has just been kind of okay. The other number that's extremely concerning is they have 30 walks in 51 innings of work. 30 walks in 51 innings. 30 walks in 60 innings would be 1 every 2 frames, and that's too many. This is more than that. 30 walks in 51 frames, just not going to get it. And this pitching staff is allowing 6.7 runs per game in league play, 6.7 runs per game in SEC play. They've only held SEC opponents in 15 games to 3 runs or fewer twice. Twice they've done that. And the teams have scored 8 or more in 6 of 15 games. So almost half the time you're allowing 8 or more. For context, how many times did LSU allow 8 or more runs in SEC play last year in 30 games? It was 4. They've done it 6 in half the games this year. And that's the thing in this town when you cover baseball and you have discussions. Like, in most places, you would go, well, you can't just compare everybody to Anderson and Ianson. And Anderson and Ianson could be the greatest 1-2 punch in LSU history. If you look at what they did down the stretch, and you look at the fact that that team did hoist a trophy, like, I'm not going to tell you they're definitively the best 1-2 in LSU history, but, man, it's pretty good. And so to sit here and suggest that you're just supposed to do that again the next year is asking a lot, but ultimately, you get asked a lot at LSU. I go in that interview room after every game that I cover, and they got Omaha written in huge letters. There's pictures of dog piles everywhere. I went to do something for the network in December, And I walked into the baseball office, and there was a painting crew in there, and there was stuff like all over the place. And I was told that, yeah, well, the team, the 2023 team got its mural put up there over the 2009 champions. That one had been on the wall for 14 years there. So they changed it, and they didn't want to take the 2023 team down off the wall, so they were painting a different wall. The point being, they were having to move furniture around to keep up with painting national championships on the wall over there, okay? The conversations we have around here are graded on a pretty high curve. And right now, you're getting C-plus baseball, B-minus baseball from William Schmidt and Kason Evans, and the top of your rotation needs to be an A, and it's not. And so, again, like, Kason Evans and William Schmidt are so far from the main problem on this LSU team. So far from it. Awful defense, can't hit aces. Your base running is bad at times. Like, there's so much worse than what Evans and Schmidt are doing. But I just want to point out, because these two were kind of thought of as the catalyst of this team, that they haven't just massively ascended. They're better than they were a year ago in this role. Kason Evans is better than he was in the 2 starts he made in SEC play last year. But they're just not Anderson and Ianson. They're not Skeens. They're not Lang. They're not Nola or Gaussman. And LSU hasn't really won a lot when they've been out there. You look at when Evans pitched against Vanderbilt, you lost. He pitched against Oklahoma, you won. He pitched against Kentucky, you lost. He pitched against Tennessee, you lost. He pitched against Ole Miss, you lost. LSU's 1-4 in Kason Evans starts in the SEC. Schmidt against Vanderbilt, you won that game in a ridiculous slugfest. Oklahoma, you lost. Kentucky, you won. Tennessee, you lost. And Ole Miss, you lost. So, like, you've won 3 of their 10 starts. Like, you're 3-7 when they start in SEC play. It's not all their fault. It's not all their fault. But it's just, you're not getting that great effort that you kind of thought you might when you saw Kason Evans against Little Rock last year and you saw him against UCLA last year. Have you seen that UCLA team this year? They've added like 2 guys, Gasparino, but it's basically the same lineup as last year. Kason Evans went out there in Omaha and locked him up. And Schmidt is thought of as this elite level prospect, which he is. But you look at the line score, and it's just never quite dominant. You're talking about 30 strikeouts to 14 walks. Evans at 38 strikeouts to 16 walks. 16 walks in 5 starts for Kason Evans. That's an average of more than 3. So, last thing, I mean, I'm sounding like a broken record a little bit, and I get it, but I don't mean to pile on them. They are one of the strengths of this team. But if you're talking about a Holman jump-like resurgence from those guys that catapults this team forward in the second half of the season, like this type of effort isn't going to do it. It's got to be better than that. I need to see 7 1/3. I need to see 7 innings. I need to see 1 earned run instead of 4 earned runs. And you just don't get that very consistently at this point from those guys. And against an Ole Miss lineup that's pretty anemic, you went out there and it just wasn't great. Those two combined to go 9 2/3 innings, and they allowed 7 earned runs. That's an ERA of 7. It's just not good enough. So hopefully those guys are really good this weekend because Texas A&M is bringing the bats to Alec Box. Those guys can absolutely rake. So if your pitching's not on point, you'll get shown up. We'll see. Let's switch to football. We'll do that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. You know, safety can be a big issue in the bathroom, especially as folks age. If there's somebody in your life who you'd like to take care of from that perspective and you'd like to mitigate that risk of what could be a hazardous situation, talk to David about it. Have that conversation. You can put in non-slip floors. You can put guardrails around slippery areas. You can put in a walk-in tub for comfort and convenience, safety. You can put in a bench in the shower. These could be difference makers in a risky situation. have that sit down with David. Go to onebathandclosets.com, request that free consultation. You can see pictures of their great work, and you can see the reviews from their satisfied clients. It's One Bath and Closets. They'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. You can find them online at onebathandclosets.com.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
If you're wondering which auctioner location to go to for your particular symptoms, you can visit their symptom checker online at auctioner.org/findcare. Primary care is your comprehensive continuous care, your annual checkups, immunizations, some asthma, maybe mild to moderate chest pain, chronic disease management like blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar. That's your primary care. Urgent care needs immediate care for some common illnesses like lacerations, abscesses, maybe urinary pain. You got rashes or mild to moderate stomach aches. Walk-ins are welcome there for the urgent care at Auctioner. You can find a location near you at www.auctioner.org/UC. And of course, emergency care is severe and life-threatening conditions, severe chest pain, severe bleeding, maybe severe allergic reaction or sudden vision loss. Certainly need to call 911 immediately if that is the case. Auctioner's got 24/7 virtual care options they want to make sure you're aware of. You can schedule online through My Auctioner, and convenient follow-ups and routine care are available. Download that My Auctioner app at www.auctioner.org/myo, or you can call Auctioner on call at 1-800-231-5257. That's our friends over at Auctioner. All right. I really didn't know what we were getting into on Saturday. I told y'all that on Friday. I told y'all we had a time to be at Tiger Stadium, which was 11:15, and I just didn't know what we would see. Turns out they let us in at 11:15. We went up in the press box, and they went through some stretching, some calisthenic stuff, got into some individual drills, and they actually ran a scrimmage that had, I believe, 13 possessions. The ones against the ones, twos against the twos, threes against the threes for the most part. And we actually got to see some things. It was not a full contact scrimmage. Nobody was being tackled. There was some thudding. If there's a running play, you kind of run the run, and then everybody kind of comes together and they blow the whistle. There was no sacking the quarterbacks, obviously. It was, I would say, full speed, but not tackling. So that's what we got to look at. From a roll call perspective, Whit Weeks was there, not dressed out. Sam Levitt was there in a jersey and a helmet, but he had on tennis shoes and was not participating. So you know that he was a week out from getting that screw removed. We thought because he wasn't there last week at any point that maybe he was done for the spring in all capacities. He was at least out there on Saturday with the team. So let's talk about some of the action we saw. 19 possessions, 9 by the first team, 7 by the second team, and 3 for the third team. And let me tell you this, folks. This is not exactly a debatable point. The defense dominated the day. Lane Kiffin said last week that the defense is ahead of the offense, and you would expect that. You've got the defensive staff that's there. You've got some pieces of the defense from last year: Woodland, Pickett, Spears, Cooley, Keys. Like, you've got some pieces, McKinley. So you've got a little bit of continuity on the defense. The offense is just completely new. New quarterbacks, new offensive line outside of the center and the right tackle. You got new guys at wide receiver. Tradez is there. Running backs are a little bit the same. But it's a lot of turnover, and it looked it. They did not block the defense very well. The guys were not open. There were some drops, some snaps that were botched. Like, it was an ugly offensive day, really from start to finish. There were 5 interceptions. Landon Clark threw 3 of them. Huson Longstreet threw a pair. 2 of the interceptions came from Aiden Anding. One was a really nice play. He made a jump ball interception over Corey Barber. The second was a little flat out route that he jumped. Now, I'll tell you this. He made the interception, and after like 2 steps, went down. And then he stayed down for a while. And then the training staff had to help him off the field. He had his arms around shoulders. And they put him on the table for a significant amount of time, and then he was in a boot the rest of the day. I don't know what happened to the foot or ankle. It's not like we get a replay. I'm way up in the press box. It's kind of hard to see anyway. He did not return to action and was in a boot, so that was a little bit of a bummer because he had a really good day. I thought P.J. Woodland played very, very well as well. Broke up a couple of passes, had an interception of Landon Clark. Clark sailed a couple of passes over the middle to Marcus Cooley, intercepted one of them. Ty Benefield intercepted the other one. I thought the DBs had a really, really strong day, and that's a good thing. Now, there were some explosive plays. Roman Mothershed, who's the big physical wide receiver from Troy, made a really good catch on a go route for a touchdown. Emil Picarella threw it out there, and he made the catch on it. He also made a really nice adjustment on a back shoulder throw and made the catch, so that looked really good. Malachi Thomas, the tight end transfer from Pitt, had a really long catch and run for a score. It was like 73 yards. Winnie Watkins had the same. He ran like a seam route between Fahim Delane, the safety, and Jace Thomas, the other safety. Longstreet floated it between the levels, and Watkins caught it, and he was off to the races, so that was a really nice throw and catch. And one thing I did notice significantly in the offense is that and this is not a shock to anybody, but I noticed it, that Tradez Green was very heavily involved in what they're trying to do. They're going to feature Tradez Green. There's a great story that the Alabama media tells that when Doug Nussmeier was the offensive coordinator for Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa, they brought Saban in to take a look at the offense. They brought Kiffin in to take a look at the offense when Kiffin was unemployed. And Kiffin kind of looked at it and he was like, well, I mean, you got Amari Cooper and you got Derrick Henry, so I would give them the ball more. Like that's the deal. Like, you got these really good players and like you're targeting guys that you probably shouldn't target as much. Like, go with those dudes. And so in this case, like, you've got Trey'Dez Green. You're going to throw the ball to Trey'Dez Green. And they threw the ball to Trey'Dez Green a bit on Saturday. Just a couple of more just kind of news and notes. Richard Anderson spent, I believe, the entire afternoon doing like agility work off to the side in full pads. He didn't look hurt. He wasn't in no contact. I'm not sure if it was punishment or if that's what they think he needs to do to get better, or I'm not really sure. But the whole team was out doing scrimmages, the first team, second team, and third team, and he was down on the sideline at Tiger Stadium, like doing side-to-side shuffles and jumping. Like, he was doing a bunch of that stuff, so I don't know why that was the case. Punt returners. They were doing some punt return drills. You saw Jace Brown, the Kansas State transfer back, Winnie Watkins, the Ole Miss transfer back, Trey Wilson, the Florida transfer back, Jabari Mack, true freshman, was back there, and then Narjor Granger as well, who just joined the team. But I think it looks to me like your punt returners are Jace Brown, Winnie Watkins, Trey Wilson, and Jabari Mack. They were taking punts from Hayden Craig, who's the lefty, and Grant Chadwick, who's the righty. I thought Craig had a better day. He transferred in from Florida, but both had their struggles. There were some issues punting the football. There's something that's got to be cleaned up, and that's going to be a competition at the punter spot. At kicker, Scott Starzik, the Arkansas transfer, is very likely the front runner in that spot. He missed one from 56. It was just wide left. He also missed a couple that were inside 50 yards, but he hit a couple of 33-yarders too. The 56-yarder had plenty of room. He just pulled it to the left a little bit. On the offensive line, there was one notable change. Well, two, I guess I should say. One on the first team, one on the second team. On the first team, you're seeing Bo Bordelon play a good bit at the left guard spot. There's been a little bit of a rotation there between he and Devin Harper, the Ole Miss transfer. Bordelon's an older player, and I believe the new offensive line coaching staff really likes him. So he's taking some reps at left guard. At left tackle with the second team, it had been Bryson Martinez, the freshman, who had been out there at the second team left tackle. This time around, Sean Tompkins, the Baylor transfer, who played a little bit of tackle for Baylor, was out there at left tackle. Clearly, Jordan Seaton is your number one guy there at left tackle, but they have rotated who's come in at the second spot there. So, again, it was a day of no tackle, spring scrimmaging. I'm not going to draw massive sweeping deals from it. You did not have your starting quarterback out there. That obviously hurt. But the pass rush for LSU was really good. The coverage was really good. They got their hands on some balls. They made things really, really difficult. When Matt and I were discussing what we saw after the scrimmage was over, he gave me the number, and I've got it here, that the first team had nine drives. Turnover on downs, interception, turnover on downs, interception, touchdown, turnover on downs. So only one touchdown produced by the first team offense against the first team defense. Didn't have their quarterback, obviously. But it was a sloppy day for the offense, to be sure. And I thought the defense certainly won the day. So curious what Lane Kiffin will have to say about that. We'll get a chance to hear from him tomorrow. We get a long look at practice again tomorrow, so look for some good content on LouisianaSports.net as well as on the show. So we'll get to go in a little before 10 o'clock tomorrow and see, I believe, the entirety of practice. So be tough to get a practice report written before my show, but I'll do everything that I can to do that, just depending on what time we get out of there on Tuesday morning. But LSU continues to churn through the spring. If you want to read everything I wrote about the practice in the scrimmage inside Tiger Stadium, you can do so at LouisianaSports.net. There's a Teams tab at the top. You just click LSU and go check that out. Appreciate Lane Kiffin for letting us watch a little bit, and we'll do a little bit more tomorrow. Looking forward to that. All right, chugging along here on a Monday edition of the Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. We will step aside and come back, close out the hour with a new hire for LSU basketball and what that may mean next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com. HighlandIG.com is the website. Jonathan Carbo and his team are phenomenal folks to work with in the insurance game. The thing that sets them apart is their technical knowledge. That's what you want in your insurance broker. You want an expert. I know that everybody immediately goes to the price, and certainly the Highland Insurance Group wants to take that very, very seriously. Premium's important, but you want to make sure you're covered. What do you need in employment practice liability insurance? Why do you need or not need cyber coverage? What should your umbrella limit be? Where'd your building valuation come from? Why'd you settle on that deductible? What's your business income limit? Do you have that coverage? If you're not allowed to work, does that income come in? All these are questions that have to be asked when you're putting that program together, and they certainly will be if you work with the Highland Insurance Group. If you're just calling to say, hey, I need to save 20% of my next renewal, that's probably not realistic in this marketplace. But if you want to make sure that for the money you are spending on insurance, that your business is taken care of, that it is covered, the Highland Insurance Group will do that. Find them online at highlandig.com. It's the Highland Insurance Group, highlandig.com.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. Trusted by champions, built for Louisiana.
Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
The Cane's Box Combo, a symphony of flavors. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Supreme Jasmine is premium American-grown rice. From local farms to your table, every grain is supreme. Pick up a bag of Jasmine or any other of our Supreme American rice.
Brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Guarantee Health Solutions brings you our Monday shows. You can find them online at GuaranteeHealth.com, GuaranteeHealth.com. Rachel Fricke and her team they're awesome. They do such incredible work with those in the healthcare space. Rachel kind of dreamt up this Guarantee Health Solutions idea in a tough time in her life. Her mom, unfortunately, was diagnosed with cancer, and so Rachel spent a lot of time during that journey and realized, because of her background in hospitality in the hotel world, just how impersonal the healthcare system can be, just how uncomfortable that journey can be for a patient. And so she set out to change that, and she's doing it with Guarantee Health Solutions. So if you're in the healthcare space, whether you're with a dental office, with a hospital, with an urgent care, with a private clinic, no matter what the case may be, and you haven't given a lot of thought to what your patient journey looks like, from the website to walking into the waiting room to communication with the office, let the team at Guarantee Health Solutions come in and do that. They want to make sure that you have an easy website to navigate. They want to make sure that you've got a great location. They want to make sure that when the patient walks in the front door, they're greeted properly and have a positive experience. They want to make sure that they're contacted to come back for those annual checkups. Make sure that patients are getting in the door. In the process of all this, they'll protect your brand, and they can help you with marketing. They're moving healthcare forward at Guarantee Health Solutions. Find them online at guaranteehealth.com. That's guaranteehealth.com. All right, LSU made official what we've kind of heard over the last couple of weeks is that Damon Stoudemire will be added to the coaching staff. So you look at Will Wade's coaching staff here at LSU. He brings in Rick Stansberry kind of as the lead assistant here. Johnny Jones, who has such a long history at LSU and in Baton Rouge. And then maybe the biggest name, Damon Stoudemire, is added to the coaching staff today. Damon Stoudemire was a prolific player at Arizona in the 90s. Went on to play 13 years in the NBA. He was fifth on Arizona's scoring list when he finished there and had the second most assists in the Lute Olson era. He was the first Arizona player in history to score 40 points in a game twice. And at the time, one of only 3 Wildcats to score more than 600 points in a season twice. He had the most threes in the history of Arizona basketball when he left, and then was the 7th pick in the draft. He had a great NBA career. And then after he retired, got into coaching pretty quickly, became the director of player development at Rice for a season, went to the Memphis Grizzlies and sat on their bench for a couple of years, then came to University of Memphis in the same building, same town, and worked there for a couple of years before going to Arizona as an assistant coach. They had some real success when he was there at Arizona. Then he went back to Memphis for a year and got his first head coaching job at Pacific in 2016. His best year at Pacific was in 2020, unfortunately, when they won 23 games. They were 11-5 in the West Coast Conference, finishing third, and then obviously nobody got to play their conference tournament that year. But after he was at Pacific, he went back to the NBA as an assistant with the Celtics and then was named the head coach at Georgia Tech for the last couple of years and was let go after this past season. Stoudemire is a big name. He has worked at big-time programs. Like Memphis is a big-time program. Arizona is a big-time program. He's played at the highest level, and I think one thing that because I don't know a lot about Damon Stoudemire, the guy or the coach, right? But you know who Damon Stoudemire is, and Will Wade's plan here at LSU is to get players on his roster that play in the NBA. Cam Thomas, Trendon Watford, Naz Reid, Skylar Mays, like these guys played in the NBA off those Will Wade teams, and he expects to do that. And I think having someone on your staff who was an All-American and a star at the college level, who did succeed for more than a decade at the highest level in the NBA, who has coached in the NBA, I just think that's an asset to have to the program. You look at how this staff, just from the outside, comes together, and I'm not going to talk X's and O's here, but you know that Rick Stansberry knows how to recruit. He's been recruiting for 30 years. You know that Johnny Jones knows LSU, he knows Houston, he knows Dallas, and he's on your bench as well. And you know Damon Stoudemire knows high-level recruiting, did it at Arizona, and knows the NBA where these kids are trying to go. I mean, how often do you hear Jay Johnson talk about, we got to have major league players? You got to have NBA players in college basketball. You just do. And so I think that the profiles of these assistants that Will Wade is luring in are good. As Will Wade said in his introductory press conference, he's the head coach, he's the general manager, he's the CEO, he's handling it all. But he's got to delegate some of this stuff, and I think that what he's put together here makes a lot of sense from a profile perspective. I don't get the sense that Rick Stansberry is going anywhere anytime soon. This, I'm quite confident, will be Johnny Jones's last job, and Damon Stoudemire has now had 2 swings at being a head coach in college. Perhaps he gets another, but for right now, like, this is kind of where he is. So you might have a little bit of continuity on that staff for a couple of years, which would be a really good thing. Will Wade never had any continuity with anything when he was here the first time. Always, always, always just the NCAA lingering and never, I mean, he's suspended half the time. Like, he gets a fresh slate, and I think he's going to have these guys at his side here quickly. Now, the question is, what do they do in the transfer portal? And I'm a little bit surprised, as I said on Friday. I thought I'd have at least a player or two to break down for you today that they brought in. And the fact of the matter is, I don't. I think that time is coming. I think that time is coming pretty quickly. You're seeing a lot of different guys move different places. LSU has not necessarily reeled in 3 big fish to this point. You've seen Louisville make some big splashes. You've seen Michigan make a couple of big splashes. It's out there, but LSU hasn't quite jumped in just yet. The one name on LSU's roster to keep an eye on right now is Jalen Reese. Everybody else has jumped into the transfer portal. Expect them to be gone. Reese does have some connections to this LSU staff, the new one, and it's possible that he could stay. And I'll be honest, like, I wouldn't mind that. To me, he really fits the bill of a solid backup point guard. So I'll see what that situation, how it resolves itself. But I would expect this week for LSU to have some names out of the transfer portal. We'll have to see. Missed any of the first hour? A lot of baseball talk at the top. Catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Palliser Sports Center. Come back with more. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. FabryChevrolet.com is the website. FabryChevrolet.com. It is just about that time. School is just about out, and it is time to hit the road for those summer vacations. Whether you're going to the beach, going to visit family, wherever you may be packing up the kiddos and heading, do you need a new SUV for that? Because Fabry Chevrolet GMC has got them. You need a Tahoe? They got them. Suburban? They got them. On the GMC side, you want a Yukon Denali? They got them. Go check out the inventory. It's all right there at FabryChevrolet.com, and you can take a look at the selection that they've got. You can take a look at the deals that they've got. You want to start your buying process there? Do it. But make that short drive to St. Francisville. Go see them on Highway 61, because you know when you deal with the Fabry family, you're going to get an unbelievable customer buying experience. That's what the Fabry family's done here for 35 years. So go see them at Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Get that new ride for the summer. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC, online at FabryChevrolet.com.
At Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer, we know hard work starts with the right equipment. Right now, take advantage of the powerful 3025E tractor with loader for just $297 a month, with 0% financing for 72 months. Whether you're tackling land, property, or projects, this is the tractor built to get it done. Don't wait. This offer ends April 30th, 2026. Visit sunequip.com or stop by a Sunshine location today.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even JB could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of JB Falgu.
Everything you need for a stunning garden is at the Plant Barn in Baton Rouge. From trees and shrubs to plants and pottery, the Plant Barn has it all at great prices. Visit us today on Valley Street, right off Perkins Road in South Downs.
World Nikola Jokic. Now, anybody who has that on their resume, I would love to hire. So I would say for North Carolina, you got you one. And the part I love the most about Michael Malone, he's not scared to challenge his players.
Check out more from Freddie and Harry weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. I thought a really interesting piece on ESPN.com about skill sets in the upcoming NFL draft. I want to talk about the Saints and wide receiver and where they may go and what traits they may be looking for. We'll talk about that in 15 minutes. A little look back at LSU baseball as well coming up at the bottom of the hour. But right now, I just wanted to talk about the Masters yesterday and kind of what we saw at Augusta National. Rory McIlroy wins his second straight Masters after fighting for more than a decade to get that career Grand Slam. He now is one of 4 men in golf history to win the Masters in consecutive years. And I think you look at the sport right now, it's Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler's time. And what's amazing to me about that is that so many golfers have a small window of brilliance. We saw it with Jordan Spieth. We saw it with, like, Jason Day. We saw it with, you could go down the list of guys in recent years. Brooks Koepka certainly had an absolute, crazy 4-year run. But ultimately, it fades. It fizzles. Look where Justin Thomas is in the world of golf now. You've got guys that pop up and win a major here or there, like a Jason Duffner. But to have sustained excellence over the amount of time that Rory McIlroy has done it is really amazing. And it puts him among the greatest players in the history of golf. He's now a 6-time Grand Slam winner. He passes Brooks Koepka on that list. There was a time there early in his career, 12, 15 years ago, where Rory looked like he was going to be just this phenom. And then he had a 10-year window where he didn't win any majors. He contended for them. He just didn't win them. And now he's back and he's won 2 Grand Slam, two majors in the last 2 years with the 2 Masters. He won a Players last year as well. And he's just sustained excellence. And you look at the world of golf as Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson have moved their way out. And you look at the top of the game, and Scottie Scheffler is still the number 1 player in the world, and he was certainly a threat yesterday. But Rory McIlroy has very much reestablished himself as in Scottie's conversation. There's a time there's nobody in Scottie's conversation. Now, Rory McIlroy certainly is. I thought that he played well yesterday. I also thought that those around him failed to apply the pressure we usually see on a Masters Sunday. Scottie couldn't get the putt to fall on 17. Hatton was too far back. Russell Henley couldn't get it to the clubhouse. Justin Rose had a 2-shot lead and then shot 2 over on the back where he usually goes nuts. You've got the 2 par 5s that you can absolutely make birdie on. You've got a funnel pin on 16. And Rose just wasn't able to apply pressure like he did last year when he got into the playoff. And McIlroy got to the 18th with a 2-shot lead, and even though he hit a terrible tee shot, he was able to get it into the front bunker, get it up, 2-putt, and take a 1-shot win. I do want to mention the coverage by CBS yesterday. Just not great. Like, Sam Burns goes out and birdies the first hole. He's in the second to last group. And then all of a sudden, we pan to Sam Burns on 2, and we see that he's hitting his fourth shot, a full shot over the green, and everybody's going, wait, his fourth shot? What are the other 3? I don't know how they missed that at that point. They didn't really explain what was going on with Haotong Lee, who played 12 and 13 worse than I would play him barefoot after a case of beer. He made a 6 on number 12, a triple bogey, and he made a 10 on number 13, which clearly shot him out of the tournament. But all the while, Scotty Scheffler is having to stand there and wait for him to do this and look in the trees for 15 minutes for his golf ball and drop one and hit one that didn't go anywhere. Like that's, if you played with a really bad player or somebody that is struggling to find balls and you never get to hit shots, if you understand how tough that can be to stay in a rhythm, they didn't show that very well. And then Rory, they didn't really lay out what he was doing on 18. They kind of talked about, well, he's going to try to hit this big hook, but they didn't like show a good aerial view of where he was going. And then he hit the ball, and you've got a team of spotters and producers, and no one knows where the ball is. Like, he hit it and started walking, and then they went to a camera, and everybody's like, well, where is it? I don't know. I can't get some spotter in Nance's ear to go, hey, it's in the front bunker. It took him like 3 minutes to figure out where the ball was. It was not CBS's best effort on the coverage side of thing. I was bummed out for Burns, who made an error on an easy hole. 2 is an easy hole, and Sam just flared it outright and got caught with an unplayable, and then he compounded the error with that fourth shot. You can't go long on that green, and he had to know that it's a tough angle because that bunker's right there, and you'd like to work it with the hill towards the hole, but he couldn't do it. I was just bummed out that the berms kind of fell apart on 2. He was pretty good after that. If you look at his round, he fell to 9 at that point, and then he bogeyed 3, which was a bummer. But at that point, he kept it together, and he birdied 13, and he birdied 14, and he birdied 16 with that long, crazy putt. And you were thinking, well, maybe he can get another one on 17 or 18. But to the point that I made, nobody put some pressure on Rory, and Burns made bogey on 17 and finished at 9 under. So a tough round, but one that I think he can potentially learn from. He's now been in contention a couple of times in these majors. He got robbed in the U.S. Open when they didn't give him relief from casual water, and then obviously was in the mix. And I thought he played very well on Saturday alongside Rory. Not his best effort on Sunday, and that's just something that like McIlroy and Scheffler are the 2 guys that kind of rose to the challenge. Hatton did it from starting the day at 4 under par, so that's not really a threat. But the rest of the guys who hadn't been in that position just couldn't get in. Cam Young just couldn't make anything. He parred every hole on the back 9 and just couldn't make a birdie to make anything interesting. Y'all know me. Y'all know one of my feelings about golf, and I'm going to take this opportunity to just roast the live golfers who were just an utter embarrassment over the weekend at Augusta. Bryson DeChambeau comes in as one of the top 5 betting favorites in this thing and absolutely vomits all over himself and doesn't make the cut after one suggesting that Augusta was a par 68 to him, par 67 to him, doesn't make the cut. That was nice. John Rahm was atrocious on Thursday and Friday, shot himself completely out of the tournament. He's supposed to be one of the great players in the world, but because he doesn't test himself on real golf courses against real golfers, he shows up on a real golf course against real golfers and looks terrible. Don't think that's a coincidence. Obviously, Tyrrell Hatton had a great day, but he was coming from so far back. And then you've got Sergio Garcia, who just makes an absolute clown of himself. Sergio Garcia is the least likable player in the history of professional golf. The least likable player in the history of professional golf. He's a complete jerk all the time. He goes out there at Augusta. He hits a bad tee shot. He's 50 shots out of the tournament. Who cares if you hit a bad shot? You have no chance to win. He's bashing his driver against coolers, breaking things. They had to go out there and chastise him, give him a warning. Another one would have resulted in a penalty. And then he does a press conference afterward, and people are asking him about him. Next question, sucking on a water bottle. Like, how about act like a grown-up for 5 seconds? But I would not expect that from him because we've seen him do this in the past. We saw him go berserk in a bunker in Saudi Arabia. We've seen him act like a clown on his way out of the PGA Tour when he knew he was going to live and dealing with rules officials wrong. He's just the worst. And he's been that way for a long, long time. And of the players that, like, I'm glad are on live, him. So I don't have to deal with it. I don't ever see anyone on live hit a golf shot. That's great. Stay over there. Fine. It bums me out what's happened with Cameron Smith, who was one of the best players in the world and won the Open Championship and was always a threat at Augusta, and then went to live and completely quit golf. Dustin Johnson fell off a cliff when he went to live. Like, I've talked about this so many times, and so many of y'all, like, don't agree with me, and you say, oh, make your money. It's not about the money. I don't blame people for going to take a bunch of money. But to suggest that completely railroading the careers of Jon Rahm and Cam Smith and Joaquin Niemann and Tyrrell, like all these guys, just take them out of the sport, is not good for golf. It's good for them to get a bunch of money, but, like, I want to see the best players in the world play well. And when you tell me that you're going to go play the Muni in mid-city in New Orleans that is not even hard for me, and I suck at golf, like, that's not real golf. That's not a real tournament. Go play the Players. Go play Pebble. Go play Torrey. Go play Harbor Town. Go play Colonial. Go play the Arnold Palmer. Like, these are real courses against real fields, and these live guys are playing garbage, and they come out and they play like garbage. And that's, but I mean, it was so obvious in watching this that these guys who were once world-class players have just fallen off a cliff. And that's sad. It's sad for golf. It would be sad if a third of the NBA left. It would be sad if the third of the MLB left. It would be sad if a third of the NFL left. Some really good players left for live, and they've showed up in these tournaments, and they stink. So there's a part of me that's glad about that and hope that it's a deterrent for anyone to go in the future. And I'm confident as Patrick Reed comes back and as Brooke Koepka comes back and as Jon Rahm's not signing an extension, and like that some of these guys are realizing what a complete and utter joke it is, and that the cash was fun, but they've derailed their entire career. Hopefully the thing folds and people come back to the PGA Tour and play real golf. But awesome work from Rory McIlroy. I thought a great scene from him and a worthy champion. And if we can get some more McIlroy-Scheffler duels for the next few years, you can certainly sign me up for that, because those two guys are special dudes to watch. And it wasn't the gripping finish it looked like it was going to be when the players were on about 13-14, because everybody kind of backed up, and Rory was able to get it in with that birdie. I made an incredible birdie on 12 with that shot in there, and then Greg made a great birdie on 13, and that's where he kind of left it. But it was a great day, and I'm always thrilled to watch the Masters tournament, and thought it provided some good theater for us yesterday from Georgia. All right, let's talk some football. The Saints are going to take a wide receiver at some point. ESPN went through and looked at all the traits of wide receivers and looked at the best one in this draft class. We'll take a look at it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust. They've been at this 116 years, y'all, so they know what they're doing. Bank local. Bank with First American Bank and Trust. You think of a local bank, and you may think in your head, well, they don't have the resources I'm looking for this commercial loan. I need somebody with a little bit more behind. Wait a second. They got 25 locations. They've got the resources. If you're looking for a commercial loan, First American Bank and Trust. You're looking for a personal loan for that forever home, First American Bank and Trust. Every decision that's made by First American Bank and Trust is made right here in Southeast Louisiana. Not in Chicago, not in Atlanta, not in San Francisco. Right here, by people that you go to church with, by people that you see at the youth baseball field, by people whose kids are in class with your kids. It's First American Bank and Trust. You can find them online at fabt.com. Find any of their 25 locations here in Southeast Louisiana. It's First American Bank and Trust.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding health care forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Get into some Saints draft talk, but first I'll remind you about Lifetime Roofing, online at lifetimeroofingla.com, lifetimeroofingla.com. Look, a new roof is something you need to take very, very seriously, and folks generally do. It's a big investment, and it may be because you need a new roof on your home to protect your home and your family. It may be because you're looking to sell your home, but if you need a new roof and you're looking at options, just give Lifetime Roofing a shot, because you won't regret it. You're talking about a local Baton Rouge-based company that services the entire state of Louisiana, plus the Houston, Texas area. They have financing options available, 0% up to 18 months. They can finance a deductible as well. They've also got a lifetime workmanship warranty. That includes materials that are backed by CertainTeed, which is one of the oldest, most trusted names in building materials. So if you go with a local company, you go with a company with a lifetime workmanship warranty, you go with a company that will work with you on the financing end, and you go with a company that does great work. They wouldn't give you a lifetime workmanship warranty if they didn't. It's Lifetime Roofing. You can find them online at lifetimeroofingla.com or stop by. They got an incredible facility and an incredible team right there off College Drive here in Baton Rouge. If you're looking for a job, they're actively hiring, and one of the only legitimate W-2 roofing companies in the entire state of Louisiana. They got benefits, 401k. Whether you're looking for a roof or looking for a job, Lifetime Roofing, online at lifetimeroofingla.com. All right. Great piece on ESPN.com. It's a quick hitting piece that you can kind of digest and burn through pretty quickly, but it's about the best traits in this NFL draft. And we all know that the Saints are going to make a move at wide receiver. And we've talked about a lot of different options at wide receiver. We've certainly talked about Carnell Tate of Ohio State. We've certainly talked about Jordan Tyson from Arizona State. You've seen some other names come up. Last week, we talked about Chris Bell, the physical pass catcher from Louisville. I know that they worked out Zachariah Branch over at the facility. Mekhi Lemon's name has come up from USC. There are a lot of different options, and the Saints may use one at 8. They may use one in the second round. It would surprise me a little bit if New Orleans did not use one of their first 2 picks on a wide receiver. I could come up with a way that they don't. Maybe you take an elite defender, Mansour Delane, Sonny Styles, or Caleb Downs in the first round. Maybe you take Bain in the first round, and then in the second round you double down on that defense. But it would surprise me, right? I mean, you never know what the board's going to look like and how things are going to break, but it just feels like they're going to take one. And I don't have a strong preference on which spot they use on a wide receiver. I would be completely fine with it at 8, be completely fine with it in the 40s. I would be a little bit puzzled if they didn't go either spot. But what are they looking for? What do they need? And the answer to that may be spelled out in this piece on ESPN.com. What you've got is a consistent pass catcher in Chris Olave who's productive. I don't know that I would use the word explosive. I don't know that I would use the word physical. I think I would use the word productive. He's a technician. He's a good route runner. He's dependable when he's on the field, which isn't all the time. And he has a good rapport with Tyler Shutt. You've got Devon Vele, who's your bigger target. You've got Polk, who we have not seen in black and gold. He's coming off an injury. You've got Mason Tipton, who's camp all-star. But you need to add a number 1 or a number 2. And those come in different shapes and sizes. Sometimes they're 6'4", physical, and just guys that'll wear you out at the first down marker. Sometimes they're 5'11" and run like crazy, and they're Tyreek Hill. You don't have a number 1 doesn't have to look a certain way. A number 2 doesn't have to look a certain way. You would like to diversify your talent level. You would like to diversify your skill sets, but number 1s can be anything as long as you're able to get them the football. So let's look at some of these traits and some of these names and names that I think could make some sense for the Saints. So the best route runner in the class, according to ESPN, is Carnell Tate. They say he's a glider with separation ability at multiple levels of the field, well-versed in manipulating man coverage, caught 51 passes, 9 touchdowns last season. Some are anti on Carnell Tate. He's not a burner, and they don't like that about him. I like a guy that can run routes and get open. I think that's a really good quality to have. I would be fine with him taking Carnell Tate. Fastest pass catcher. Brennan Thompson from Mississippi State ran a 4.26 in the 40. Fastest time in the class. He averaged 18.5 yards a catch. Now, he's not going to be a number 1 or number 2. But if you feel like he can take Rashid Shaheed's place and he can be the blow the top off the defense guy and Olave and Vele and Polk can work around the line of scrimmage, well, that makes a little bit more sense. And you don't have to take Brennan Thompson in the first round. You may not have to take him in the second round. Burner. Is that somebody you want? I'm not ready to go there. Most explosive pass catcher, Omar Cooper from Indiana. And oh, by the way, Cooper's name comes up later on in this piece as well. They say he's the best ball security as a pass catcher as well. 115 career receptions, did not fumble once. That's even more impressive considering his aggressive playing style with the ball. So you've got a guy who's really explosive and takes care of the football. I think that is a guy that absolutely would make some sense for New Orleans. Comes off a national championship. We profiled Chris Bell last week, and I think this is a really good fit. If they grab him in the second round at 6'2", 225, has some speed, but has a lot of physicality, and played with your quarterback, I think that makes a ton of sense. I love Chris Bell in the second round for the Saints. Now, here's a guy that we saw in Baton Rouge make a couple of big plays. The most sudden pass catcher, KC Concepcion. Now, Concepcion is not tall, but he's incredibly quick and shifty. And if you're talking about adding a returner to your stable as well, Concepcion may be the best punt returner in this class. He's awesome at that. He did it to LSU. That's a guy that I'm not exactly sure where he's supposed to come off the board, but it's a very intriguing skill set. And it would surprise me a little bit if Casey Concepcion, who was awesome in his first stop in college, was awesome in his second stop at college. You go from NC State to Texas A&M, productive both places. I like him, especially if you can get him in the middle rounds. He fills a need on special teams, and he's something that the other guys are not. I see him as a different player than Olave, certainly Vele, and even Polk. I like Casey Concepcion as a value pick. We'll see if that presents itself. Most elusive pass catcher. I don't know what the difference between elusive and sudden is. Kind of the same type deal, but Zachariah Branch falls in here. That's a guy the Saints have looked at. They've worked him out. He also helps in the passing game and the return game. He 4.35, great lateral cutting ability. Forced 28 missed tackles last year. So that's a guy who can make some plays, absolutely. Now, Hank Beatty from Illinois, best hands in the class. Did not have a drop last year. 70 catches, did not have a drop. He's smaller, 5'11". I think he does kind of fill a Chris Olave type role. So I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but it's a different option. Best instincts, Antonio Williams from Clemson. I looked at him a lot last summer as LSU was getting ready to play Clemson. He's a slot guy, 130 catches over the last 2 years. He does a great job against zone coverage. He does a great job catching the ball. He kind of feels a little bit like a Chris Olave type of player. Best at getting open. Now, this is an option at 8. Mekhi Lemon from USC. Lemon is very, very quick. He's 5'11". I think he's similar to Chris Olave, but I think the upside on Lemon could be a number one. I think he could be a number one wide receiver in the NFL. That's what you would hope to get if you were taken at number 8. I think that's very, very interesting. Malachi Fields, best on 50-50 balls. He's a big physical guy. 6'4", 218 pounds, can box out defensive backs. He's an X profile. I like this. Now, this is a little bit like Devon Vele, but I like big and physical. I think that helps a quarterback. And if you've got Olave to do some of the other things, I like big and physical. That's what Malachi Fields brings. Best body control, best ball tracking. This is probably the most talented receiver in the draft. It's Jordan Tyson at Arizona State. He's a high riser. He's long arms. He's fast. If he's there, that's a guy that the Saints really have to consider. 18 touchdowns over the last 2 years. He's got number one written all over him. And I think he's a great complement to what Chris Olave brings. Tyson is 6'2". He's 200 pounds. He can run. He can jump. You're telling me that he's got the best contested catch ability in this draft class. I love it. Best body control. I love it. I think Jordan Tyson makes a ton of sense in this draft. Best after the catch, Skylar Bell from UConn. He had 833 yards after the catch this year. He's 6 feet tall, very, very shifty. That's a guy you can get beyond the first round, obviously. So I think you're starting to see some of the options that could be available there in the second round, in the third round, if the Saints want to do that. If they feel like they've got to address the defense first and then go to the weapons next because it's easier to find a wide receiver than it is an edge rusher, okay. These are some of the options. It's not something I've considered. So to me, I would like either a home run threat or a big body. I don't know that I want another 5'11" or 6 foot good hands guy. That's a lot of Olave to me. Give me somebody who's a threat from 70. Give me somebody who can catch a jump ball in the red zone. Give me somebody. So it's Jordan Tyson, it's Omar Cooper, it's Chris Bell. Like, these are the names I really like, and you can get them at different spots in the draft. I feel like that would make a lot of sense for New Orleans. So if you want to read about all the different positions and all the best traits in this draft as New Orleans gets ready to get on the clock here on next Thursday, you can do that at ESPN.com, and you can certainly catch our Saints stuff at LouisianaSports.net and Hunt on Saints. All right, let's step aside. We'll come back. LSU's got a problem, and I don't know if they can fix it, but it's pretty glaring. We'll talk about that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
GoTro's Outdoor Power. GoTro's Outdoor Power. Summertime is right around the corner. Temps in the 90s. That means grass is growing. You got to cut it. And the folks at Gotros Outdoor Power are here to help you do that. They can get you behind the wheel of a zero-turn mower for $100 a month. Financing is absolutely available. So go see the Gotros, either at Airline Highway or down in Gonzales. They've been at this for 22 years. Largest parts inventory in Louisiana if you need a part for your zero-turn mower. Largest Hustler inventory in the state by far. National Hustler Dealer of the Year 2 of the last 3 years. These are the people you want to do business with. You can go buy at the big box store. You can get a zero-turn mower. What happens when you walk out the door? Is there customer service? Do you have that local feel like you will from Gotros Outdoor Power? If you need to take care of your property and you need a zero-turn mower, you need to go buy at Gotros Outdoor Power in Baton Rouge on Airline Highway or in Gonzales. You can find them online at GotrosOnline.com. GotrosOnline.com.
Everything you need for a stunning garden is at the Plant Barn in Baton Rouge. From trees and shrubs to plants and pottery, the Plant Barn has it all at great prices. Visit us today on Valley Street, right off Perkins Road in South Downs.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. No, the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Take a tour at Marucci. Go see him over there. It's where they make the official bat of Major League Baseball. 1,200 of them every single day, to be exact. The cool thing about the tour, when you go take a tour at Marucci, is you get to hear the story of how they started this up in a backyard shed, and now they're the official bat of Major League Baseball, and you get to see where they produce these things. This is truly a gem right here in Baton Rouge. It's a worldwide brand that blossomed from a backyard here in the capital city. So go to MarucciSports.com/campus-tour and buy tickets to get a tour. Every ticket comes with a 20% discount in the Campus Tour store and in the Hitter's House. Bring your youth baseball team. Bring your youth softball team. Bring your kiddos. Just go by yourself. It's an awesome place to go spend some time learning about a true gem here in Baton Rouge and grabbing a bat and taking some swings. It's Marucci. Find him online at maruccisports.com. All right, LSU's got a problem, and there is a fix, but I just don't know when the fix is going to be applied. Cooper Moore has missed 3 full weeks now. And they started Gavin Guidry in the first weekend, and then Grant Fontenot the next 2. And those 2 have combined in 3 starts in Cooper Moore's spot, basically. 3 starts. 4 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 11 runs, 7 walks, and 5 strikeouts. 4 1/3 innings, 8 hits, so 2 hits an inning. 7 walks, basically 2 walks an inning. 11 runs in 4 1/3. You're talking about an ERA. Well, they're not all earned. 8 of them are earned. But you're allowing 11 runs in 4 1/3. That's getting off to an awful start. Now, I'm well aware LSU won the first 2. They got into ridiculous slugfest with Tennessee and Kentucky and won them. But that's not a sustainable way to play baseball. You can't fall behind 7-0 every Sunday. You can't have your starting pitcher average an inning on Sunday. And it's disappointing that Jay Johnson doesn't have anybody on Tuesdays or Sundays that he feels like he can hand the ball to and say, hey, can you get me 9 outs and not allow a run? 9 outs, no runs. Like once. Do it against Southern. Do it against Bethune-Cookman. Do it against the team that came into the weekend second to last in the conference in batting average. Just give me 9 outs. 6 outs will do. They can't do it. Can't do it. And it's just a huge hole. And Cooper Moore, while he's not going to be a first-team All-American, was somebody you could count on realistically to get 15 outs, to work through the 5th, and do it with 2-3 runs. And that would give you a chance in the middle innings and give you a great chance if your offense is going to bash around Sunday pitching like LSU has. But instead, you're having to go to your bullpen in the first or second inning of these games, and you're just getting cooked. I forgot this stat in my opening segment when I was talking about baseball, but I just find it to be so indicative of what LSU is battling from a pitching perspective. On Saturday, Ole Miss only came to bat 6 times. They 10-runned LSU and didn't have to hit in the bottom of the 7th. They came to bat 6 times. And LSU threw 50 more balls than Ole Miss. 50. LSU threw 77 balls. Ole Miss threw 27 balls. And I don't count that number very often, so I don't even have a great perspective of like what's good or what's not. So I thought, let me go look at something for comparison's sake. So I went and got Cade Anderson's last start as a Tiger, complete game shutout against Coastal Carolina in Omaha. I said, okay, how many balls did Cade Anderson throw in a complete game? 9 innings. 9 innings. How many balls did he throw in that game? He threw 44 in a 9-inning start. LSU threw 77 in 6 innings on Saturday. You just have no chance. Because, yeah, like, balls don't just mean walks. They do mean walks, but they also mean 1-0 counts and 2-0 counts and 3-0 counts and 3-1 counts. And no pitching staff can pitch from there. And that's why Ole Miss, for the weekend, hit 350 because you can't control the strike zone. This is a Jay Johnson staple. He's talked about this a ton. The thing you have to do in baseball, beyond all else, is control the strike zone. He calls it the line of scrimmage. And if you don't, meaning you throw balls as a pitcher and you swing at balls as a hitter and take strikes as a hitter, you just have no chance. And this LSU team, too often, doesn't control the zone. Like, this didn't end up hurting LSU, but it's just something I noticed. If in the 7-run inning on Sunday, you're trying to claw back in this thing, you're down by 3 runs, John Pearson is up, you've got runners on base, and he's in a 2-0 count. And there's a changeup that's well out of the strike zone low. And Pearson swings over the top of it. If he takes it, it's 3-0. A massive advantage count. And it wasn't a strike, but he swung over the top of it. Well, now it's not 3-0, it's 2-1. And Pearson ends up striking out. Now, it didn't matter because Braden Simpson came up and got the big hit and drove 2 runs in. Then you got the wild pitch and you scored and tied the game. So that didn't actually even hurt LSU. But it's just a microcosm of what LSU deals with so often. You're just not controlling the strike zone. And to throw 50 more balls than the opposition in a shortened game is just mind-blowing to me. And Cade Townsend's good, no question about it. But you got to try to match him. And William Schmidt was brought here to try to match him. And he was really good the first 3 innings. It looked awesome. And then it unraveled in the 4th. Too many 3-ball counts, too many walks, you're out. He walked the first 2 guys in that inning. And that's one of those things that just feels like it could be correctable. I'm just not going to – people balk at this. But I'm not going to just blame Nate Yeske because Santiago Garcia – or Danny Lockenmeyer comes in. And he's got a 3-1 count. So you're just like trying to throw a strike. It's 3-1. We're not going crazy with the breaking ball. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like, you're trying to make a pitch down in the zone. It's 3-1. But this is not a pitch that should be borderline. And the 3-1 pitch hits the batter in the back of the helmet. That's missing by 2.5 feet. It's a 3-1 count. You got to lay it in there. I don't think that's coaching. I just think that's guys not executing at all. I can't have the pitching coach or the head coach hold these guys' hands every time they do anything. This is college baseball at the highest level. I need you to throw a better 3-1 pitch than that. It's just, there's so much that's frustrating. And I said in the first segment today that I was fired up to watch him play on Tuesday. And I do generally like when LSU goes and plays a baseball game. But I'll say this, man, and I know that y'all agree with this. It's rare when I say something and go, everyone agrees with this. This is a hard team to watch. They do not make it fun. They're oftentimes behind early. They walk a lot of players. They make miscues defensively that just make your blood boil. They lose a lot. They're not enjoyable on the weekends. Like, they've had their moments. It was a lot of fun to watch them bash it all over the place against Kentucky. Seth Dardar's hitting a grand slam, throwing the bat 30 feet in the air. Hitting 11 home runs in Knoxville is impressive. For the most part, these guys go out there, they're immediately behind. Then they're behind even more. Then the starter can't throw strikes. Then Jay makes 11 pitching changes. It's a tough watch. And nobody likes watching LSU baseball more than me. It's a tough watch. And hopefully they can turn some of this stuff around. I'll continue to hold out some hope. But as I said in the first hour, like, I'm close to thinking this is just not going to happen. It only takes 1 game, supposedly. See if they can do it against Northwestern State tomorrow. First pitch at 6:30. All right, let's come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. Up to $11,000 off Chevy Silverados. What a deal. 5 figures in savings on Chevy Silverados. Up to $13,000 off MSRP on GMC Sierras or 0.0 APR financing. You cannot beat that, literally. Incredible stuff from the folk at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. If you want to start your buying process online, do that. Go to FabryChevrolet.com. You can see the entire inventory there. See what might look good. See what the deals are. And then if you want to get behind the wheel, head up to St. Francisville. Take that short drive up Highway 61. My wife and I were up there a couple weeks ago. It's right there, especially if you're north of town in Zachary or maybe in Scotlandville over in Point Capee Parish, certainly the Felicianas. Just get on by and see them. Short drive up for a great deal and wonderful customer service from the Fabry family that's been at this for 35 years in Baton Rouge. Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They're online at FabryChevrolet.com.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized, it'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at Decision.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Folks at Guarantee Health Solutions are operational experts. They can come into your healthcare operation and give a full assessment of that patient journey. That starts potentially online. Like, how many clicks to care? Do you have a functional website that can help people easily access your practice and get them in the door? And what's that experience like once they get in? Folks at Guarantee Health Solutions are happy to come in, train your front desk to make sure that patient experience is wonderful. How do you know whether or not your patients are going to make their follow-ups? They're going to come for their annuals. Well, Guarantee Health Solutions can implement some protocols to make sure that that happens. If you're looking to expand, looking to figure out how to find a location, Guarantee Health Solutions can do that. Do you manage your SEO for digital marketing? Guarantee Health Solutions can do that. They're here to guide healthcare forward and to help your healthcare operation move in the right direction. Contact Rachel Fricke and the team at Guarantee Health Solutions, online, guaranteehealth.com, guaranteehealth.com. All right, fast-moving show. Sometimes on Mondays I don't have any guests. I just got a lot to talk about and a lot to deal with. We've done a lot of that, talked a lot of LSU baseball. The first 30 minutes were LSU baseball today. Disappointing weekend, and you're at the halfway point, 6-9. I'm going to do some more resume stuff. It's time to start talking about that at the midway point. There's still a lot of volatility, and you've got some real impact RPI games coming up. A&M on the road at Mississippi State, huge RPI implications. On the road at Georgia, huge RPI implications. You've got an opportunity to win some games against South Carolina. South Carolina's playing better since they let Paul Mainieri go. They're 5-6 in league play. They swept Missouri over the weekend. Certainly not going to be a picnic. And then you got to play Florida as well, who has had really good weekends. So you've got opportunity, but that's also a great challenge. You've got to take care of your business in the midweek, and you got to start playing a little better. Hopefully we get an update on Cooper Moore later on this week. He started his throwing program last week, supposed to ramp things up a little bit this week, and Jay Johnson said that he was hopeful that there could be some contribution from Cooper Moore coming up this weekend against Texas A&M. That'll be a 3-game set starting on Friday. It'll be a 6 o'clock first pitch on Friday, 7 o'clock on Saturday, late game, and then an afternoon game on Monday. And it's a huge weekend. Texas A&M had an emotional weekend against Texas, won the only 2 games they were allowed to play. Weather cost them a game. Yesterday, they just couldn't get out on the field. They waited until 10 o'clock and then didn't do it. Texas A&M actually was going to give free admission. They were going to start the game at 9 o'clock, and they were going to allow free admission to the game, but they just couldn't dodge the weather long enough. But LSU's not cooked completely, but they got a tough schedule, and they've got a team that's struggling in a lot of phases. I've talked a lot about it today. If you missed it, you can catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Talked a lot about LSU's scrimmage on Saturday that we were able to watch inside Tiger Stadium. A little bit on LSU's newest coaching hire in basketball, Damon Stoudemire. So you can catch all that wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. We certainly appreciate it. Right now, let's do some Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it. All right, let's rock and roll.
Yes, sir. All right, so speaking of the Masters that you talked about,
I did.
Rory McIlroy wins the Masters for a second year in a row. First repeat since Tiger Woods did in 2002. Fourth overall, being that there are so few that have repeated a championship in this tournament. Will Rory be the last to do it? Take it or leave it.
I'll leave that. The thing about the Masters is...
Leave it alone.
It takes a special type of player to win that golf tournament.
Right.
And the guys that can do it for a long time. And so once you figure it out, I think it's easier to replicate. And so you saw Jordan Spieth fall just short of it in 2016. He won it in 15 going away, and he had a commanding lead in 16 and threw it away on 12. You've seen guys, Scheffler's been in the mix now 3 years in a row. Rory's done it. So I would anticipate it will be done. I don't know when. This took a little bit, but it'll be done again.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it was very fun. It was actually my first time I've actually paid attention to the Masters.
Is that right?
Weekend. Yeah, so I've been getting into golf a little more. So it was exciting. That was
Nice.
my first Masters. All right, moving on. So I do have a little theory for LSU baseball moving
Okay.
forward. So in 2023, we won the College World Series. 24, we lost in regionals. 25, won. So that means this year, at best, we'll get to regionals and lose out. And so that means in 2027, we will win the championship. Take it or leave it.
I would take that. I'll take a national championship every 2 years for sure.
I'll take it.
The question is, how do you create a little bit more consistency? I've been asked a lot about that for this team. Yeah, some of the transfers that have been brought in haven't quite lived up to it. Some of the guys that were on the team last year that have been asked to play a little bit bigger roles haven't necessarily stepped into those great roles. And I think a couple of things can be true. I think last year's team was probably a little bit underrated when you consider just how good Anderson was. He dominated yesterday or Saturday, whichever it was. He threw 5 no-hit innings, like 11 strikeouts in Arkansas. He's phenomenal. Ianson was phenomenal. Jared Jones is one of the most underrated players in LSU history. When you consider, if we can take ourselves out of Omaha for a second and sit in the present and understand the frustrations that a lot of LSU fans have with this current baseball team, and you're telling me that just because Jared Jones had an over 4 with 4 strikeout game in Omaha that he needs to sit the bench, or come on, man. The guy hit 2 home runs in Omaha. He had the walk-off hit. He's got the most home runs in the history of LSU baseball for a 3-year player. That guy was a superstar and a massive presence in the history of LSU baseball, but he had a bad afternoon because he's a guy that is a boomer bust player. He will strike out a lot. But, oh, by the way, he had more base hits than Derek Curiel last year. So, that just got me off on a tangent I didn't know was coming. But, there are people listening to me right now that were hating on Jared Jones in Omaha last year, that were saying he needs to sit down, saying he's hurting the team. That guy was a star. He was a legend. And I think that he was – but that last year's team was not as good as the 23 team, but it was a great team. And this year, they just haven't quite lived up to that. And I think the other thing that it does is put in a little bit of a perspective – Paul Mainieri's being a top 8 seed 6 years in a row. When you consider staying at the top of the sport that long, Like, that's impressive. And I know that he didn't get it done in Omaha the way that people would have liked it to happen, but I think the consistency that he had was remarkable, and you're not seeing that consistency right now out of LSU in a completely different era with transfer portal and guys leaving and coming. But I think a hat tip to what was a really strong run there for Mainieri between 2012 and 2017.
All right, so last one. So this NBA season is the first in NBA history to have 8 NBA teams with 55-plus losses.
Yep.
Mostly due to teams tanking. Tanking has gotten a lot worse recently. Going forward, the NBA will not be the same, and we'll have no solution for teams doing this. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. They can figure that out. I mean, the lottery's technically supposed to do it. You can de-incentivize tanking. I don't know what it means to the parity of the league, but it is a problem. I mean, NBA's teams just tear things down instantly and look to rebuild. The only team that won't do it is the Pelicans. So that's kind of a bummer on that side of things. But yeah, I think that they'll look at that because there's some bad NBA teams out there right now. There's no question about that. That's it for Take It or Leave It. Very excited for tomorrow's show. We'll be out there at LSU football practice for a long time tomorrow. We'll have a full report. We'll get you ready for LSU in Northwestern State. We'll talk to Glenn West, talk to Sharif Ishak. So looking forward to that. Matt's about to drive you home on After Further Review. Have a great Monday. We're back tomorrow with the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com. You think you can play 12 and 13 better than Hao Tong Lee, who played him a total of 8 over par? Test yourself at Swing Easy Golf Club. Get on the simulator, fire it up, and go see. I think you can do better than that because I think that's pitiful. Swing Easy Golf Club's a great place to hang out. It's a great place to play some golf, great place to enjoy yourself, entertain clients. Be a member at Swing Easy Golf Club. Get you some great perks over there. Ask about it when you stop in. They're on Segan at Perkins. It's just a different way to experience golf. It's great. You can turn up the simulator. You can work on your game on the driving range setting. You can play famous courses like Pebble Beach or Cypress Point or St. Andrews or the one they were on this weekend. And you can hang out with your friends. You can play some tunes. You can watch some television and just enjoy yourself with a couple cold drinks. They'll fill you up an ice chest with them right there at Swing Easy Golf Club. Go see them on Segan at Perkins. You can always find them as well online. SwingEasyGCBR.com.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to